Just no money? Okay then, it's no problem. Okay. Let's start explaining and talking about our spells first. So, the current build I'm running to lead the infamy race by millions is the bloodletter knight armor build. We're using bloodletter, guardian helmet, knight armor, and leather boots. Any leather boots will do, guys. The main spell that we are after is the hunter shoes. Okay, this is the main spell that we go for. So any leather boots will do just fine. If you're using an artifact leather boot, that's even better because you will get higher item power out of artifact items if you have fully spec them. So if I had an excellent 8.3 Hellion shoes, my IP would go even higher and I would still have the refreshing sprint. So with the boots, it's up to you. You can go for the hunter shoes, which is the cheapest one, and still get refreshing sprint, or you can go for something more expensive and still get refreshing sprint. Our current IP outside is 801, 1801. Okay, so we use refreshing sprint with balanced mind on hunter shoes. The only time that I change spells in this is to use quick tinker, and the only time I use quick tinker is when I'm chasing a rat. If I know he's a rat 100%, I swap it to quick tinker, so I can get like 0.5 seconds of cooldown reduction. Otherwise, I always play on balanced mind. For the knight armor, we always play on wind wall. The other two spells, the taunt is nerfed, so it doesn't do anything. This cannot be used in combat. We always have wind wall on. We always use toughness. I heard people say the tenacity can be good against frost players, but I disagree. The 5% damage reduction is really good. Compared, if you think about it, the fights last really long when you're in this build. So 5% damage reduction from every single thing that you get damaged by adds up to a lot of damage over time that you blocked. And for the other secondary passive, we use Spirit Crash to kill the mobs easier because we don't care about threat generation. In the Guardian Helmet tree, I use Emergency Heal, and as a passive I use Toughness. As I said, I heard people swapping the tenacity on chest and helmet versus frost matchups is easier for them, but I think toughness is better overall in everything, and we never change it off emergency heal. We always play emergency heal. Stone Skin is a good ability, but emergency heal outperforms it with this build in every matchup that we have. In Bloodletter, the standard thing that we run is Deadly Swipe on Q, Chain Slash on W, Lunging Stabs is standard on E, and we run Deep Cuts as our passive. The only time I change Deadly Swipes to Sunder Armor is when I know I'm gonna fight another plate user and we're both not gonna run away at all, and we're just gonna headbutt each other till one of us dies. This is the only time that I will pick Sunder Armor over Deadly Swipe. Otherwise, Sunder Armor will always outperform. Deadly Swipe will always outperform Sunder Armor. As our W spell, I use Chain Slash. Some people like to use Shadow Edge versus 100 daggers. I don't. I tried it. It doesn't work out really well for me. So I use Chain Slash for every single matchup that I have, besides Chillhole Staff. For Chillhole Staff, I go with Shadow Edge because their E actually takes a lot of time to set in and freeze you. You can use Shadow Edge on cooldown to match their E cooldown and get out of their Chillhole E every single time. The only matchup I use Shadow Edge to fight is against the Chillhole. Rest of the fights I always use Chain Slash. A secondary time when I go off chain slash is when I'm chasing a rat. If the other guy's only intention is to run away from the fight and break the crystals, I pick Shadow Edge and try to catch him like that. Lunging stabs is our main ability. We can't change this. And as the passives go, you always use deep cuts. Deep cuts is a really strong passive. Outside, every 4 normal attacks, you inflict a bleeding damage on the enemy, which deals 150 damage. 150 damage is a lot. Because our attack speed is too very high when we're using daggers, any kind of daggers, you trigger this so many times in a long fight that actually it does like 50% of your damage. As an offhand, we use Taproot. I tried using 8.3 Masterpiece Torch to replace the Taproot. It didn't work out that well for me, so I think Taproot, if your intention is to fight and not run away, is the best option you can use in this build. And we're using Thetford Cape. You might change the cape to Bridgewatch Cape, maybe, but I don't think that's a good idea. Thetford Cape, 8.3 Thetford Cape, has a very low cooldown, 15 seconds, and it really does a lot of damage. And since our fights are very long, this cape procs like 5 times, 6 times in one fight, and actually contributes a lot to our damage, just like our passive. So this is the items that we use, and this is the spells that we use for certain matchups. Now, let's go over the pros and cons for this build. Remember, this is an impromptu guide because you guys asked. So I don't really have a game plan to go on here. So I'm just gonna do this impromptu. So let's bring up our document right here. Okay. Let's go with bold and big numbers and says pros. Okay. So pros of this build. Mobility is our pro. Both for running away and chasing. This build is great for chasing people when they're running away and not let them reset the fight, and also really great when you want to break the crystals, get out, or when you want to reset the fight, get everything back, and then re-engage. There are builds that will make this very hard for you. Examples are Claymores, One Daggers, and Frost. But if you play properly, and assuming they don't play super optimal, 100% value ratio, you will be able to get away. The only time that you won't be able to get away is when you commit to a fight and try to kill the other guy. You have to expand, you have to utilize some of your cooldowns that you would normally use to run away. And if the time comes that you need to run away and you don't have access to those abilities, then running away becomes harder. If you decide to instantly run away, then it's much easier. So another pro related to mobility, high HP pool. This allows for more mistakes. Because our HP pool is too high, and let's say our HP pool and defense, you can make mistakes and you won't get instantly punished and destroyed and die in 10 seconds. Okay? So combine this with mobility. Once you know that you fucked up, if you didn't expand your mobility spells, you can easily reset and get a fight where you don't fuck up. Okay? So this is another pro for this build. Third pro. This will not happen with every single player, but it will happen. Disrespect and underestimate. Enemies will disrespect you, okay, and underestimate you. This is one of the biggest pros this build has that will lead you to victory. Players will disrespect your damage over time, players will disrespect your ability to play this game just because you're running a build they don't like. And they will start the fights on non-optimal conditions and they will not play perfectly. So you can punish them much harder. Um, yes, I'm talking about my build. Let's think about another pro. No. Well, yes. Um, the value game. Your spells, like Windwall, like your E, can both be used offensively and defensively to play around enemy cooldowns. You see a Claymore uses Cultist Helm on you, you Windwall him, and play the Catch Me If You Can game around the Windwall till his Cultist Goals runs out. He uses Inferno Shield. You dash away with your lunging stabs. You wait till the Inferno Shield runs out, and then you re-engage. So there are a lot of spells in the kit that will allow you to gain value over the other guy if they're not careful and if they disrespect you. Let's go to the cons. Cons of the build. Trading mobility for power. Right now, because there isn't a build that has a lot of killing power, a lot of chasing power, and a lot of running power. You can't have it all at the same build besides 100 daggers. All the other builds will have to trade. Crossbows trade mobility for fighting power, right? Claymores don't have the biggest fighting power, but they have some mobility and a stronger fighting power. Curses have a big fighting power, but low mobility. Frost, decent fighting power, decent mobility. We have high mobility, low fighting power. What this means is, in reality, when you're fighting somebody equally skilled as you, this is important. When you're fighting somebody equally skilled as you are, and if they run the same item power as you do, the only favorable matchup you will have using this build is versus light crossbow. Every other matchup, if you're fighting same item power with an equally talented opponent, you lose. Unless you use the pros up there to outplay them. If you don't outplay them, you lose. If you do, you can win. Okay? Cons. People will tilt. Because people hate this build because they don't understand this game properly. When you beat them with this build, people will go crazy. It doesn't matter if they're streamers, if they're top tier GVG gamers, if they have been playing this game for 5 years, 6 years, it doesn't matter. They will have so much salt on them, they will attack you. I get daily whispers from like 20 people telling me to do bad things to myself because I play this build. Okay, that's a pro. For some, that can be considered a pro, but when it goes on for such a long time, it becomes a con. Okay. Cons. What else? Committing to a fight means you lose one of your pros. If you use this build to fight and kill other people, you will have to use your wind wall, your sprint, your lunging stab while you're fighting to get value and outplay the other opponent. And when you do this, you lose your running away potential, right? If I use my wind wall to counteract his Inferno Shield, if I use my sprint to counteract his cultist call, if I use my lunging stab to get away from his Iron Will, then during the fight, if I need to run away, if those spells are on cooldown, there's a big chance I'm dead. Okay. Close fights. Same IP, same talented opponent. Even if you outplay him, because they have more fighting power and you're in an unfavored matchup, the fights will be really close and stressful. And since because of your high HP and defense pool, the fights go long, it takes a psychological effect on you, and if you're not focused enough, you will either try to run away from the fight prematurely, losing your chance to win the fight, or you run from the fight prematurely and give the guy a chance to catch and kill you. Other con, as the chat says, expensive. The build is expensive. In 8.3, as an 8.3 build, it is nearly double, maybe more, than the price of a 100 dagger build, for example. Another top tier weapon. So it is expensive, guys. You have to put in a considerable investment, risk a lot of silver, and try to get a good reward out of it. If you play like I do, you're able to compensate for this con. But if you die and you're inexperienced, you will lose too much money in a short amount of time. Biggest cons, yes. Since the number one guy plays this, this is another con. Since I'm the number one guy and I play this, people will cry about the number one build always, and eventually, even if the build needs a nerf or not, it will lead to the build getting nerfed. This build is about to get nerfed to the ground, so play this in 1 week, or don't play this after a week. So we got this. Let's go to matchups. Fuck. Okay. Favorable matchups. Unfavorable matchups. Expo. Everything else in the meta. As I said, you need to outplay everything else in the meta. Equal IP, equal talented player to win. You just need to play properly and not get outplayed by light crossbows to win. This is our matchup score. Now, let's talk about how we actually play our game, how we actually play the match, how we actually play our opponent. Alright, so as I said, we kill a lot of 8-point player guys, but as I said, the exception here should be that the other guy should make mistakes and we capitalize on it and we outplay him. Otherwise, we will not be able to win the fight. There are lots of clips here that I fight people equal IP or lower IP than me in unfavorable matchups and I win. Also, there are lots of clips in my Twitch channel as well. We're gonna go over some of them and we're gonna see how the matchups work. Let's see. This is from test server that we were doing yesterday. This is Death Givers. This is a niche. You don't really see Death Givers that much. Okay, so this is an 8.3 dagger that I faced off stream last night, and he overcharged his 8.3 set. We won the fight, barely, let's see how we played it. Let's see where we see him first. Here. So, first thing I do, every single matchup, you need to do this. The second you see the guy, you inspect him. If you know the build, if it's a standard build, you inspect him, you know what it is, and you close it down. If you see something out of the ordinary, you click on it really fast, check the spells. If you see a sword, you inspect him. Perish Strike or Iron Will, you see it. I will go over that in the sword matchup, but let's talk over it. So the first thing you do is inspect the opponent. This is really important. Even the potion or a poison that he's running or the cape that he's running is really important to know. Knowing that this guy doesn't run Bridgewatch cape actually made me want to take this fight. Yes, that's a Thetford cape. Because overcharged 8.3 gear, 8.3 Dragon is literally impossible for me unless the other guy is a total monkey. Like he literally needs to be hanging from the fucking trees, eating bananas on his free time to be able to lose to me with a Bridgewatch cape when he's running 8.3 overcharged daggers. Okay, so we face him. This is a bad initiation, guys. Don't do this. I will get punished by it. I will show you how to properly engage a dagger. This is not the way. So here, you always take auto attack trades versus daggers when their E is not on. When their E is not on, you will get favorable trade, auto attack trading. Okay. When their R is up, but not the E, if they're using R, but not the E, you will get out of the trade equally. So neither of you win, but you both take damage. But if he doesn't have the R up and if you go into an auto attack trade, you will go out of the trade favorably. So you always want to take a trade auto attacking each other when his E is not up. The second I see him pop his E, there is no, you cannot inhumanly react to this with 150 ping. You can react to this a bit faster if you have lower ping. He will still get like 600 HP because the attack speed is ridiculous and there's a ping. But as soon as you see the E go through, you win wall. And then, watch what I did. I didn't even care what he did. I immediately did the swipe downwards or upwards, vertically. The reason for this is a lot of the daggers will immediately try to follow up with a shadow edge through your wall. They won't close their E, they will keep it open. Immediately follow up with a shadow edge. If it hits on you, they will keep their E open. If you dodge it, they will close the E. As soon as you dodge the E, you need to make a straight move the second you see the E closed towards the dagger and take a trade. A lot of the daggers at this point, at this scenario, will run and reset the fight, come back with the cooldowns and full HP. When they do this, there's literally no way you can catch them. Because to survive against them, I have to expand all my mobility spells. And he didn't have to expand his sprint, nor his shadow edge right now. So he can easily get away. So I run immediately, try to take an auto trade right after wind wall and he didn't use the shadow edge and he has his E closed. I run up to him immediately. He overcharges his 8.3 gear and he starts to fight me. As I said, this trade is favorable for me, so I take it. Even though my HP might seem low to you guys, taking this trade without his E or R is up with this HP is actually what we want to happen. Because we need him to go down to 40%. Bad initiation. A good dagger player will never initiate from long distance with a shadow edge when facing against a bloodletter that has its cooldowns up. He will never do it. The reason is, if he does it, pops his cooldowns, and if you windwall him, then he has no way of connecting with you ever again. So he would have wasted 3 spells against our 1 and be outvalued. But as I said, this is a matchup that you cannot win unless the opponent makes horrible mistakes, disgusting mistakes. Okay? So he makes mistakes, so we are able to win. He misses the Shadow Edge. The second he misses Shadow Edge, I try to take a trade again. Because now, even if he uses E, his Shadow Edge is on cooldown for 15 seconds. And I will windwall him the second he uses his E. And then try to force him to take a trade without his E again. So I try to go for it. Pops his R. We are not afraid of the R, guys. We are not. Remember. This trade is good for us. If he doesn't have the E, it's a good trade for us. So I'm still watching his buff bar. He popped his E. What we do? We windwall. He does a great timed Shadow Edge. Right? As I said, daggers will use their Shadow Edge to go through your windwall. He predicted this really well. And didn't even get knocked back from the windwall. And here, he literally destroys me. I pop my sprint to try to get away. Because now, I don't have my windwall. I don't have my sprint. He just uses sprint. I don't have my healing potion. And if he catches me one more time, I'm a dead man. So I'm trying to reset the fight here. Let's fast forward. We fast forward. I am able to reset the fight and go back in. Here, guys, the pros. I wrote this and I wasn't kidding about it. Look at what this guy does. He typed /sleep in the middle of the screen, in the middle of the map, because he thinks he's unbeatable. He has an excessively huge advantage against my build, and he does. There is no way for him to lose, so he disrespects. This is really good. When he disrespects, he makes mistakes, and you can outplay him. Here we go. This is the kind of trade you want to take against daggers. You start with Q. Can't see his typing. Don't know what you mean by typing. We take the trade again. He has his haste up. When he has his haste up, we can take the trade. The second he uses his E, I change slash him. And now, look at what I did. I didn't use my windwall this time. Because now, I'm a little bit pissed at him for disrespecting me. And since he thinks he's unbeatable, I don't expand my windwall. I chain slash through him, pop my sprint in a circular rotation to dodge any shadow edge that will come after it. And then I re-engage when his E is down. Now normally, a dagger that won't make the mistake will use his shadow edge to do spat and get the fuck out. And because I had to expand my F and my W and my E just to get to him, there is no way I catch him in hell anytime soon. He has a torch for extra cooldown reduction, so he will get away. He will reset and come back. But, as I said, pros, people disrespect you. People disrespect you because they think they have the edge. They have the upper hand in a fight. And they do. But not when they disrespect you. So, he uses his Shadow Edge to me to stay in the fight. Now, when he does this, he is forced to take an auto attack trade with me without his E up, which is favorable for me, right? He pops his sprint to get his E back faster. Big mistake. He needs to save it to either escape or to chase me. The second I see the E come up, I chain slash him and I windwall. And I move directly, as I said, either down or up. You go south or you go north. You go west or you go east. Directly. Because you know, Shadow Edge would follow that windwall right after 0.5 seconds. Under a second, a Shadow Edge will come. So you dodge preemptively. I dodge it, I go back in. Now at this point, he already fucked up for the first time. For a dagger to lose the matchup, he needs to fuck up 3 times. Not 1, not 2, 3 times against you. So that's his first fuck up. I think it's the second one or the first. I don't know. Now he should be running away. Like, he should be running away. He's taking a trade with me, auto attack trading. As I said, don't mind my HP going down. This is favorable for you. Because if he hits this 40% mark, that guy is fucking done. All you care about getting his HP to this. So imagine the HP of him not existing after 40%. And this is what I'm fighting. This is what I'm seeing right now. If you can see my mouse, this is the HP bar I'm seeing. That's why I'm taking the trade. I'm seeing my entire HP bar, but I'm seeing this for him. So I take the trade. We're still trading. I'm still going in. Now, as I said, this is where we want him to be at. I carefully time my execute. I don't want to miss it. This is my only chance to win. I pull off the execute. Now he still has one more chance to kill me. Right? He needs to do the third fuck up. Because he did it twice. He gets his E back one more time. If you now disrespect the dagger, you will die. If you think that you can actually kill him by using your spells when his E is up, even at this HP, he will go back to 100% and you will die. Never. Doesn't matter his HPs. He pops his E. Look at his HP. 117 HP. He pops his E. You don't take the fucking trade, dude. If you do it, you're dead. That's how broken this shit is. I immediately windwall him. And now, I chase him. Again. Even now, guys, he had a chance to run away. But he uses his Shadow Edge to re-engage again. Fourth fuck up. And I catch him and we kill him. Nothing trashes. Good job. So this is how a dagger matchup looks at. He had to massively fuck up 4 times for me to barely kill him. And he wasn't using Bridge Watch Cape. This would have been much more difficult with a Bridge Watch Cape. So this is the first matchup of our in-depth guide, as you guys asked for me to do. This is a dagger matchup. This is how it plays out. By the way, Pablon, the guy that I faced, good fight to him. I'm not trashing you, my dude. Don't get this the wrong way. I am explaining the matchup and how it goes with 100 dagger versus bloodletter. Because the viewers asked me to make a guide, an in-depth guide on my build where they can access it whenever they want. So good fight to you. You made some mistakes. I played good. It was a good fight. And shit happens. Sometimes I play bad. I die. The other guy plays better. So congrats to you. Okay. Usually you don't get this sort of stuff, and if you listen, you will learn from it. Exactly, that's what I'm trying to do. You guys asked for it. I'm trying to deliver it as much as to my best capability. It's impromptu, so okay. This is very short, but I want to still see it. I want to still show it. So we're chasing a rat. Okay, I have Shadow Edge. I have Windwall. I have my cooldown passive. This is how to use environment, basically. So this guy would have normally run away from me. The things you can do. Now here, this is a very dangerous hallway. Two scorpion hallways are very dangerous, guys. For everybody. You, the enemy, the rat, doesn't matter. If you're fighting in a two scorpion hallway, it's very dangerous. This was the only place that I could have killed them if I play properly. Lotus Empathic, I played and won a level 7 crystal. There are lots of crystal matches in my YouTube channel. You can go watch them, dude. Kisses, and right now I think it's time for you to go. I'm trying to do this guide for people. Thank you. Bye bye. Okay, so he gets hooked. I immediately go for the explosive bat right here, so that he cannot use it to get away. Right here, I use my E to get in front of him, push him towards the other scorpion, so he aggroes them both. So he gets hooked again. He gets hooked again. Right? He nearly makes it out. I stun him to give the scorpion another chance to hook him back in. He jumps. And after this, there's a trap over there. He runs out of mana and he dies. So this is how you can use the map to your advantage. Remember, guys, two scorpion hallways, very fucking dangerous. If you find the two scorpion hallway and if you're good at playing around mobs, good at playing around environment, you have a wind wall, don't be afraid to use it and kill your opponent using the environment. This is a little environment play, let's say. Let me try to find a different matchup for you guys now. Another meta build. So this is a chill out. Let's go for the chill out. I used we can say it's a frost matchup, similar to a frost matchup, but much easier than 100 frost in my opinion to fight the chill out. Okay, let's see how we played. Okay, so we face each other here. The first thing I do, of course, press Y to see his items. The second thing I do, get out of the queue, get out of the area. He used it very bad, so I was able to dash out of it with my Q. Okay, I chain slash. The second he uses his blink, I use my E as a gap closer. This is a lot of mistake. This is a mistake that a lot of the bloodletters do, guys. Okay, here people save their E and use their E just for execution purposes. Don't do this. Versus light crossbows, versus fires, versus curse, versus frost, it's not worth saving your E to be kited. You don't want to get kited. The second I see him use his blink, I use my E to get close to him. I don't want to get kited. I use my E as a gap closer. But always wait for the other guy to use a gap opener before you use your gap closer. Whether it's your E, whether it's your F, whether it's your chain slash. Unless you think it's going to secure you the kill. He uses a horrible healing potion. It's okay. Sometimes we panic, we make mistakes. But these kind of mistakes win me the fights. So he goes in a trade here, which is a bad idea. He uses his E. Because I used my E earlier, I can't get out of this. It's okay. We still made him waste his healing potion. And he used his blink just now. So I have my sprint up to catch up to him. This is something that you should learn to do. Look when I use my chain slash. Against sprinting opponents, if they're running away from you with any kind of movement spell, you wait, you attack him, you stutter step, you walk with him, and at the last possible second, the maximum range of your chain slash, you use it then. See, I had my chain slash up the entire way. I didn't use it. As soon as he's getting out of my range, I use my chain slash to cover the most distance I can so that he cannot chase me. So that he cannot run away from me, kite me. So here, his sprint is over and I'm right on top of him. So here, This will happen to you a lot. If you're an EU player, you know what I mean. If you got 150 pings, uh, uh, reactions like this will not always work out for you. See, normally if I had 30 pings like an NA player, I would easily get out of this. But because of the blink he did after the E, I get teleported back. It's just ping things. If it happens, it happens. Unlucky. And you just keep moving up. So because of this ping thing that happened, basically he gets a free ticket to run away. The fight goes on. He gets a free reset. Do I have to fast forward this? No, I don't think I can. So I catch up to him. Here, I try to use my chain slash iframe to leave the area. I would say I successfully did it. It's either ping again or I didn't do it. But it is possible or not. Like maybe I did it, maybe I didn't. It's okay, it happened. So you try to chain slash or E out of this spell every time, or shadow edge. And again, I use my E as a gap closer. I try to stay on him. He is just taking this beating right now, right? He's taking this beating. He's not responding to me. He's trying to take a breathing room, but I'm not giving him that breathing room. You always save your wind wall to get value out of something. He uses his cultist skull. The second he uses the cultist skull, I interrupt him and I also knock him back into the lava, which causes him more HP loss. He pops a healing potion. I try to chase him. Now, the important thing here, guys. Knowing what cooldown your opponent has. Okay? I know his E spell is up. My E is up. But I do not use it. Because if I use my E right now, he freezes me and he leaves. I wait for him to use his E and then I execute him. Okay? This is really important. If you use your gap closer before the kiting class uses his gap opener, you will get kited. Okay? Another matchup advice I have for you guys versus one-handed frost. If you actually face a one-handed frost, do not use your bloodletter E unless he blinks. Don't use it. Try to bait it out with other spells. If a lot of the frost players have low pings because the class really requires low ping, they will iframe W your E and you will be fucked. Okay? Don't use your E unless you absolutely must before he uses his iframe W blink. Don't do it. Find another way to reach him. And when you're fighting frosts, as I said, a pro to this build is that they disrespect you. So you try to fight. You try to start the fight close range. Don't worry, because they respect you, because they have the matchup advantage, they will come to you. You don't have to go to them and start getting poked for 300 to 400 damage before even the fight starts. Play around the map, walk around until they move up to you and they make their first mistake there. They lose value on the first second of the fight. So this is a frost matchup. I know it's not good, but I don't want to show the Humperdinck match because though that crew around Humperdinck, the streamer crew, is also already very salty about me and taking a shit at me at every turn they can. So if I show it here, even if I do it as an educational thing, it will still get shit on even more. So I don't want to show it. Demon Helmet Dagger matchup. It works. a little bit different. Does this? No, he actually broke the crystals. Okay, never mind. I'm trying to find another matchup for you guys. Crossbow matchup. Okay, this is good. Light crossbow matchup. As I said, this is the only favorable matchup you get in 1v1. The only matchup that you are favored in equal IP, equal skill level. If you lose this matchup, that means the opponent played uh, better than you. You misplayed. Light crossbow is the only matchup you have an advantage. The fight starts. As I said, if you wanna look what I do here. If you wanna fight a crossbow, a frost, anything else, look. I noticed the exploding bat here. You want, as I said, you want to start the fight from melee range. I fought this guy a lot of times, so he knows better to disrespect me. He will not walk up to me before the fight starts, and I don't want to get poked for 600, 700 damage even before I reach him. I don't want to give him that value. He already poked me once. So I'm looking for a creative way to start the fight from melee range. Let's see what I do using the environment. I bait him to come towards me. I use the exploding bat with my Q, dodge his Q, and right on top of him. And now, even though we have a favorable matchup, now it's even more favorable for me. Because he didn't get to poke me before the fight starts. I start from the melee range using the environment. He misses his knockback. I chain slash. I chain slash and knockback. Knockback has a less cooldown if he uses omelets, but if he doesn't, it still has a less cooldown, I think. But it will come up at nearly the same time as chain slash. So try to predict the knockback and be very hyperactive around the crossbow using chain slash and deadly swipe, so that he has a chance to miss his knockback. Right now, the pressure is on him. Right, he is in an unfavored matchup. He already started the match unfavorably in a melee range without poking me, and now he misses the knockback, which puts him in a worse situation than he already is. He pops his run. Look what I do. I use my Q. Because run lasts longer, he will cover more distance than a sprint. I wait for him to go a little bit. I E to cover the distance. And then I pop my sprint to catch up to him. And while this is going on, while I'm next to him, keeping on moving, I'm just not moving. I'm hitting him while I'm moving. This is really important. Default is spacebar. You can bind it to something else like I do. You keep hitting him while you're moving. Every single damage counts. IQ, sorry, not E. And now, I use my E as a gap closer to stay on him even for longer. He uses the Fiend Rope. I try to dodge around while he has the Fiend Rope up. So I dodge the knockback shot. Good for me. My key bind for auto attack is the letter C. I chain slash him. The Thetford Cape explodes the Silence Bat. Environmental Hazard. This is really good for me versus a crossbow because I don't rely on my spells to deal damage. He does. So silence affects him more. I keep auto attacking him. And now he knows he has no chance. He goes back into the silence. The reason why I'm not attacking right now, guys, when I'm running, I want to be on the equal level elevation as he is. Because I know his knockback is up. The second he goes out of the silence field, 1 or 2 seconds later, he will knock back me. And if I land into the silence pit, he has a chance of getting away. So I need to be on an equal elevation with him. So even if he knocks back, I get knocked back into this wall and he doesn't open the distance. See, as I said, his knockback was coming up. I kept our distance equally. I deadly swipe in front of him and he misses the knockback. And after this, he already had to outplay me by major because he was unfavored in this matchup. And I end up playing better than him and I win the fight. Guys, I'm sorry I am pausing and playing all the time. The people asked for an in-depth explanation guide on matchups and how this build works. I'm trying to give that. I will return to standard gameplay as soon as this is done. So this is the crossbow matchup. And big props to this guy. I fight him a lot in NA time zone. Fight like 5-6 times. And after this we had one more fight where he really played really good. And he almost got me. He was in an unfavored matchup. He outplayed me. And he almost got me. Big props to him. This fight he didn't play so well. But the next one he played really good. I don't have the clip of that fight. But yeah. Big props to him. Claymore matchup. Okay. The Claymore matchup. Let's go. So. Alright. So we have a Claymore here. 8.3. Full 8.3. He is in Cloth. Cloth is a better matchup compared to a Leather Claymore in this build. Okay, so we have better chances versus Cloth. What he wanted to do here, Claymores want to get stacks early on and bum rush you with their stacks and use their E to start off the fight. But the thing is, he uses his Iron Will, right? Just to use the spell to 3-stack E. And if he actually used the Iron Will during the fight, it would have given him more value. And using Claymore E from this long range would have actually, I could have actually deadly swiped backwards and dodged it entirely. Then his stacks, his Iron Will, his E would have gone to waste and he would have been fucked up big time. But I didn't. He got the E off. It's okay. But he ended up being in a trap. So he uses his Cultist Skull immediately. As I said, although this is easier compared to Leather, you're still unfavored in this matchup. This is a big mistake. There's a trap line between us. He uses Cultist Skull. All I have to do is stand still. And the Cultist Skull is now wasted. Now we can fight. Cleric Pop. I expect this Cleric Pop. I don't auto attack all the time because I expect him to use the Cleric Robe. He uses the Cleric Robe. I don't pop it. I wait and now I fight. Now, Iron Will wasted. Cultist Skull wasted. Cleric Robe wasted. Now, a favorable matchup versus me became an unfavorable matchup for him because he didn't play so good. Now, the only thing remaining for him is his boots because I didn't see him use his boots. We both pop our healing potion. He used Claymore E. Now he used boots. Remember, guys, chain slash max distance. Don't use it immediately. Let him get away a little bit and then use it to catch up. And then E to execute. And then we end the fight. I did show all of that at the start of the guide. So you can actually go back to the beginning of this guide and watch and listen to all of it. Is there any other matchups I'm missing? Any other matchups? 8.3 Leering Came matchup. This is way easier compared to a Guardian Helmet Bridge Watch 100 Dagger matchup. you pretty much have a big advantage on that matchup. Any matchups I didn't clear yet. Regular Frost matchup, we I cleared it good enough. Okay, Warbow matchup. This can happen, so let's go. Okay, so Warbows. The fight actually starts earlier, I think. Yep, it starts here. So I see the Warbow. Look, first mistake the Warbow player does. First mistake. Wait, you died? No, I didn't. The first mistake. Look where the fight is starting at, guys. This is the place we start hitting each other. We start using spells. He could have gotten at least 2 TQs and an E on me before I even make it to him. He starts the fight from melee range. One mistake, unfavored against him. Frost shot, the second he uses the frost shot, I follow up with an E. Don't use your gap closer without the gap opener, remember. I try to stay on top of him. I use my chain slash because the only other gap opener he has is a sprint, and I have my sprint up. Assassin jacket. I stay near the center. Now the fight starts. I pop my sprint, mistake by me. As I said, don't pop your gap closer without the gap opener, so I use my sprint to get to him. He pop his frost shot. And now my sprint is wasted. Now he uses his sprint. And now he's out, right? I made one mistake and he's gone. Luckily, mobs slow him down a lot. Another mistake, I chain slash the mob to chain slash to him, but I end up going backwards. Unlucky. I try to make him stay in the combat, but I'm unable to. Pops the bat. So here we start again. So see, now because I messed up my cooldowns, I don't have any gap closers to use when he uses the gap opener. But, good part, he didn't really have to use his boots over there, but he did. So now, as I said, mistake. He shouldn't have used 2 gap openers there. I had no spells on me. He chose to use his boots and his frost shot. Now, with 1 E, I'm on top of him. My sprint is back. My chain slash is back. Now he will have a lot of hard time to get away from me, in my opinion. Uh, he didn't want to run into the mobs, I guess, again, so he changed his direction. He ate omelets here to get some cooldowns back faster so he can run away. But at this point, it's pretty much too late. So gap opener, I use gap closer. I use chain slash for maximum range always. And here traps. Unfortunately, they rotate the other way. But he breaks the slow and he kills himself. So Warbow matchups is very similar to Frost. Gap closer after gap opener always. Try to start the fight from melee range and then go like this. What's this? This is Badon, similar to Warbow. You just don't want to stay inside the Badon bow when you're fighting. Dagger. Uh, I think we're missing Leather Claymore. Right. Is this a Boltcaster matchup? You sometimes get these guys. Let's see the Boltcaster matchup. No. I inspect him. Look, I inspect him. I check if he's running silence or if he's running knockback. Now I know his win condition is to land this combo properly with silence. So here, the second I see the silence used, I dodge with my deadly swipe. I chain slash cancel his E. And now he's like, he pops his dodge roll. And now he's like, I should press all the buttons in the game. He presses all the buttons in the game. But I already got so much value out of it. Like, I dodged like 3 most important spells that he has. So now look, guys. Again, I wait for my chain slash. He pops his silence shot. The second he used silence shot, I chain slash behind him. I dodge it again. And the fight is over. So 2 silence dodges, 1 E dodge. And Boltcaster is done. It's a really gimmicky weapon. You know? Everything has to go perfectly for him to win. Curse matchup. Right. Props to Tabor. Very hard matchup for us. Unfavored again for me. He was in 8.1 OC. If he were actually in 8.3, he would have killed me. But because he didn't make mistakes, he played properly. The IP actually gave me the win here. But I played properly in some places. If I didn't play properly, I would have lost the fight even with the IP advantage, because, as I said, we have unfavored matchups against equally skilled opponents. Let's see where the fight starts and where it ends. The fight starts here. So I find a place. I find a good place to start the fight. Melee range. I pop the silence bat. Forces him to use Hunt Root. I hit him once with Chain Slash when he's on Hunt Root, and it doesn't reflect back to me because Chain Slash is iframe. I don't hit Hunt Root. I cleanse right before the E explodes. This is like the standard thing you do versus Curse. You just wait for the E for the last second and then you use your Guardian Helmet. And I'm trying to hit him as much as possible while moving. Now I see him about to use his root. I dash forward. I catch up to him again. Now, right now, one mistake I did. I shouldn't have used my Chain Slash to damage him. I should have waited, because the matchup goes like this. First E, you Guardian Helmet. Second E, you try to iframe. Third E, you Guardian Helmet. But I used my Chain Slash before the second E. You use your Chain Slash for the first E, but you don't use it for the second E till the second E comes up, because you have a chance to iframe it. I used my Chain Slash early, so I couldn't iframe this. So I have my Guardian Helmet back up. I'm not using it till he uses the E. Now he uses the E. I still am not using the Guardian Helmet, because first, I want to think that he's gonna win this, so he doesn't try to run away. And second, the more I can use when the spell is about to over, that means the less chances he has of restacking my dots. I glance at the last second. Now my E is back up. I execute. He Hunter Root perfectly. I Chain Slash after. And he nearly got me. He played really well. I made one mistake. And that was to Chain Slash before the second E came out. Otherwise, I did a really good E on his W. I did a really good stutter stepping. The last execute on the Hunt Root isn't actually a mistake. That's our win condition. Even if he has Hunt Root there or not, if the E doesn't kill me, I use it. So it wouldn't have changed anything if he used the Hunt Root or not, but a good Hunt Root timing nevertheless. So this is the Curse matchup. But guys, if you have Guardian Helmet, always Guardian Helmet over trying to iframe, because you might mess up the iframe, or you might like you might get yourself ready to iframe, but all of a sudden he roots you and he takes a couple steps back, and now he's out of range, and now you didn't commit your guardian element, and now you're fucked and can't iframe and got the damage. So the matchup goes like this: guardian element first E, try to iframe second E. If it doesn't go on, if it doesn't pop, it's great. If it does, it's okay. You guardian element the third E, and you try to iframe the fourth E. But the fight will not go long for the fourth E, long enough for the fourth E. So that's how the matchup goes. So yeah, that's basically the most common matchups you have. Unfortunately, I don't have a clip for Leather Claymore. But basically you do the same thing as the Cloth Claymore matchup. The only thing is you Windwall Inferno Shield and not Cultist Call. You Windwall the Inferno Shield and you try to sprint and put distance between you and the Claymore when he Cultist Calls. You try to devalue his spells like that way. Alright guys. This is the in-depth explanation of the guide and how you play it. I hope you enjoyed it. It was very tiring for me to do. I talked for a long time, but I hope it's worth it. And now I can actually clip this whole thing and put it to YouTube, so